No, Adrian, you are muted. Oh
Oh
no.
no. Hi, and welcome to another episode of Dungeons and Degrees. My name's Adrian.
And I'm Alex.
And today we have a special guest. Special guest, introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Shane Brockway, but you may know me on Instagram as The Blind Man, also from Apocrypha. For the D&D fans, you'll probably know me more as the guy who made the spoiler final boss miniature for the first season of Critical Role, or as the lead painter from College Humor's actual play show Dimension 20.
Hell
Nobody
yeah.
knows who that is. That's what?
They're just small shows nobody's heard of.
It's just a game. It's not a big
Small
deal.
fan bases.
If it's not a stadium, why am I watching it?
It's fine.
All right. I want to hear about, because you're started today with your Kickstarter, and you told me that you funded it today. Alex is going to search that up right away now.
I am not
I saw
addicted.
the
I can
eyes
stop at
open
any
up, the
time.
hands start like moving, typing away.
Hey, don't look at my Kickstarter history.
tell
I
me
physically
about,
can't stop buying indie RPG books for reasons. I don't even have the shelf
my
space. You just can't stop.
Listen, I don't even play with people in person. Why do I have anything?
Because at the end of the day, the worst case scenario is the real pretty art books that nobody but you will ever look at.
Mm-hmm.
The goblin enemy is happy.
Yes. So Alex and apparently Shane both have Kickstarter problems, or gifts. I don't know whatever you want to see it as. And Shane, tell us about your Kickstarter and kind of how that kind of came about.
Yeah, so this is my first ever attempt at a Kickstarter. For a while, I've been sculpting miniatures just for my own sake, adding narrative to my own games, and just because it's the hobby I do. And I slowly, chatted with some other indie sculptors and have been seeing a wider success of indie sculptors on Kickstarter. Big shout out to Andrew May Miniatures, because seeing him put out Kickstarters just for sculpts that he had, not exuberant amounts of miniatures at once, like it'll be a line of 5 to 11 models, no stretch goals really. It's just, here's the sculpts I have, fund it to see if it can happen, and then we'll move on to the next one. It made it look really attainable to somebody who just wanted to sculpt models, so that really inspired me to give it a try for myself. And when I started kind of doing some of my sculpts and conversion works on miniatures, it got a lot of nice comments and stuff, and so I thought, okay, maybe it is worth trying to cast these and get these to people. And so I dove really headfirst, and I can happily say we funded in 2.5 hours. So first wave is at least a success, enough so that I intend to keep going with it. Why not, unless it starts to fail me? So I'm pretty happy so far. I'm going to keep sculpting, so why not keep putting it out?
Right. And so tell me about like how you got into the hobby of crafting minis.
All right, so we're going to go back to a 13-year-old poor kid who was super into Lord of the Rings, and still is, and used to just scroll online and look at swords he couldn't buy and statues he couldn't buy. And one day I was like, oh, look at all these like little Lord of the Rings stuff, like what's going on here? And so I found Games Workshop's website and just looked at everything on their website. And while I was always into like movie miniatures and puppetry and that kind of stuff, I was totally unfamiliar with gaming miniatures up until that point. So then by that Christmas, I got a book of how to play the game you can't afford yet, and eventually that opened up the world of miniature gaming. And I've always done art stuff since I was even younger than that, like clay sculpting at a much larger scale and painting and drawing and stuff. So once I started kind of being able to mix my love of art and my love of games into one hobby, it was impossible to get rid of.
What was the first one that you kind of like you made, and then which one became like, okay, I'm getting better at this? Like, what was the next piece?
Ooh,
I know it's like a deep dig. It's
yeah.
a 13-year-old.
No, the 13-year-old me was not good at making stuff. But so the thing is, I guess, to really go back is having started at that point of like, I can't afford any of this, so I'm just looking at like miniature forums. So from the start of the hobby, I saw people customizing and converting and making their own stuff from the kits. And that clearly translated. And I think, again, because of the kind of artistic bent, for me, the hobby at its start has always been like modifying and just making it whatever you want. And that's also because I hate reading rules and I don't care about rules that much. So it's like at the end of the day, I'm buying this thing. It doesn't matter to me what it needs to be. I'm going to make it look nice. And so even early on, I was chopping up pieces and gluing things together. A lot were really ugly. But I think just seeing people capable of making things really nice. Like I remember seeing somebody sculpting like Dead Space minis like way back, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, and so I just kind of kept patrolling through the forums and seeing people way better than me and just like trying to push for that because just building a kit out of the box was really boring to me, especially since, funny enough, even though I'm a fantasy person at heart, I started with their sci-fi game Warhammer 40,000 because when I was like, oh, I'm going to try their games out, I saw that that was being played more locally, so I was like, if I can only afford a couple boxes, I should buy the game that people are playing, and nobody was playing Lord of the Rings. And of all, the most character full models, the first thing I got was a couple of basic ass army men and like a tank, super flavorful. And so it was mostly a lot of just like, oh, I'm going to give this guy a bayonet. And I'm like, this is going to be Solid Snake because he needs to be. Kind of like conversions. And most of it barely played with. I always had a hard time ever actually finishing an army because it's just from one attention span to the other. It's like I'm going to cut up this thing, and when I'm done this, now I feel like doing another project. But I'm trying to think early back, like what are some that I'm like really proud of? I think it's hard because back then it's just I kept cycling through ideas so fast that nothing fully stuck because it was just like jumping to the next thing, jumping to the next thing. Oh, I'm at the store and there's a bunch of pieces people like cut off and accidentally left on the floor. Let me take some of those and make something else out of it. Like really kind of just going like trash wizard with it. So there's a lot of that early stuff that I just don't remember, or like, there'll be a bash of super glue and nonsense, and then like I'm really happy with it, and then the next day I'm like, oh, this is terrible, and I put it in a box and never look at it again. So it definitely kept progressing from that until I started to be good enough to want to keep it around. But yeah, I'm trying to think early years. There's not a lot of just really stuck out to me.
You saying that you like once a project is finished, you jump onto the I want to do the next thing. It seems like there's probably like something in the mix that might have been the one, but like your mind is so busy on like the next thing and the next thing. It's probably like the next thing is going to be the best thing, kind of the
Yeah,
mentality.
no, absolutely. And I think like even though I've been doing it for a while, it feels like I got to the point where each project was just about getting better and getting closer to being able to achieve certain things. That really it isn't until recent years. Like once I started my Instagram that I avoided forever, like I finally made a model I was really, really happy with, which was I converted, if you're familiar with the game Kingdom Death Monster, which has a
Yes.
range of both very good and very terrible miniatures. I love the game, but a lot of their stuff I do not like at all. But even models I like, I have to kind of make my own because that's the part of the hobby I like. And so they have
Yeah.
this one character called the Manhunter, who does exactly what his name describes. But he's like got like wrestling moves and bear traps and tries to capture people. I'm like, oh, I like this guy. I think I can make him into a cannibal. And I did, and I was really happy with all of it. And I feel like that was the first model where like, because I never really took a lot of pictures of stuff either before, and so I took a lot of pictures because I was really proud of it. And from that part, and that's sort of where the Instagram started for me to like really start channeling into specific models that like I really wanted to achieve stuff as opposed to making a model for a game and for some rules real quick, and then I'm not playing the game anymore, so I move on. And I'm definitely at that part now, and I think it probably has something to do with getting to play more in the fantasy and in the fantasy horror realm where I'm like way more into than just straight sci-fi. So there's a lot more play, I guess, with the characters in that sense.
With getting like altering these minis, do you have to buy like doubles or something, or do you have like somewhere you go to or know of like certain websites that help you get these extra pieces, or is it just like I have this lying around, I know exactly what I'm going to do with it?
Actually, it's half of what you said because I have this stuff laying around. I very, very, very rarely plan anything. This